on the previous episode of Talk That Talk.
All the factors that go in when you talk about administration, financially, no administration gives the main budget to a band program. They'll give you money to buy some music, buy a few instruments, and so forth. But that really comes from other resources and paying into the budget. I think the part where I know for a fact that a lot of administrations don't support these programs is the actual support of what you do as a band director. Like how hard it is for you to be up there from 7 o'clock in the morning to 9 o'clock at night. Like Quan probably still, I think you at work right now, Quan. Like what it entails to do the job of a band director, the going the extra mile, being away from your family, making the ultimate sacrifice for some kids that aren't even yours because you do care. And I think that that's where you really see the breakdown of support is that administrations. My principal, when I taught middle school was over at 3:20. He was gone by 4. I was still there having after school band practice. You know what I'm saying? So just because I wanted my band program to be great. So I think that's where you see the biggest breakdown is the actual support from the person saying, I support the work that you do, and actually recognizing these band directors that make the ultimate sacrifice to do what they do. And I know y'all thought my answer was going to be different because y'all, I'm always seem to be the antithesis to everybody on the staff. But I think there is definitely instances where administrations don't support the band program. So yes.
All right, Quan. Is administration hurting our programs on the secondary level?
Like I was saying earlier, it can help and hurt. Just bottom line. If you have an administrator that understands what bands can do at and do for a school in a positive manner, that supports you, like Rick said and Chief said, then yes, it will definitely help. Shout out to, he's like a little brother, but he's like a brother to me. He teaches at St. Helena. We call him Fry, Mellow Fry. But that's an example of a supported middle school, high school program that administration, they've built that school. They built that program, honestly, revamped it from the ground up. And that's an awesome school in St. Helena, Louisiana. Now, administration can affect, Rick said, finances. I'm gonna go another route. We haven't even talked about scheduling. Like, that's some of the biggest part of it. You can recruit and get 80 kids, and then out of the 80, 15 may actually be in band class. So you're literally only allowed to have, excuse me, band practice as your class. That's something that honestly a lot of us deal with. Scheduling conflicts kills us. And then you may have the parents and all of that stuff, or they can't stay after school and yada yada yada. I mean, it's so many layers to it. But an administration, when you was talking about finances, there's a district in Texas that is called the non-centralized district. So basically all of the funds go to the principal. So the principal is judge, jury, and executioner on how he wants to spend the funds. And honestly, if he's not a supporter of the arts, you're not going to get nothing. You badly can get drum heads in certain instances. I never forget, in this particular non-centralized district, I interviewed for this job. And I asked, so what's the budget? The person literally told me, you have the autonomy to raise funds however you see fit. I say, so there's no budget? No, there's not. What's in the account? There is nothing. When was the last time y'all bought instruments? 10 years ago. So you have some people that's walking into situations like this, and they expect you to build a band because they had a band legacy back in the day. But if your administration on any level doesn't care for your program, it's going to hit a glass ceiling.
But is it Quan? Can I ask you this? Because I know you're a high school band director now.
Mm-hmm.
When we say don't care, do we mean they don't care because they don't financially support? Because like we brought it up a couple of times on the show. Like I'll put the disclaimer. I actually have a degree in educational leadership. The thing I always realize, like that people don't always realize about how principals make decisions on money, is the reason why STEM and all these things are so big is because if your state accepted the No Child Left Behind money, then you have to be able to pass those tests in order to receive that money from the government. Like that is a prerequisite for getting that money. So on top of the money, you know, like the state gives you like per student and stuff like that. So when you say don't care, like I'm just talking about your experiences. Is it because they don't financially support, or is it what I was saying when I said that actually showing you that they care?
It's a bit of both, because all of us that have been directors, regardless if it was dance or band, you know that money is a big part in it. Like, first of all. And then the second part of that is the scheduling. Like there's only so much that I can do at a 2-hour practice after school, if I'm allowed 2 hours. So I mean, it's a little bit of both. And then two, you have some administrators who are just merely oblivious of what it takes to run a program. You cannot run a program on a stick of gum and a shoestring, bro. Like, it doesn't go like that. There was a particular school, another high school that I was working at. When I arrived, I mean, instruments beat up, and I was like, "Hey, can I get more instruments?" The administrator told me, "You are not getting a new instrument until you build the band." And I was like, "Well, how can I build if I don't have the instruments?" And like you were saying earlier with the financial aid situation, we make a lot with less. So I'm literally having kids buzz on mouthpieces before we even get the instruments. And then a nonprofit organization blessed us with $5,000. So I went to the nearest like instrument rental place and rented all the instruments full semester, so that the following year that they could actually buy the instruments. Now, regardless if it's affluent or not, you shouldn't have to go through that as a teacher. Like, you shouldn't have to make miracles like that as a teacher. Just support me as an educator first. The finances and stuff, I understand. You could make it shake, but come on, it's like some of the horror stories, and of course we've all shared. Some of that is a reflection of education, and in my opinion, specifically in urban areas. Like, that's the problem. And so you run great band directors to the affluent areas or completely out the education field.